Is it done for Giannis in Milwaukee? Because it feels like it's done for Giannis in Milwaukee. Plus 2 close and pretty interesting preseason games. It's a Locked On NBA game night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA game night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA game night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA game night. Every game, every night. We have actual games in this show, which is a lot of fun. Preseason is here. We're watching real basketball, but they're going to actually get delayed because we've got to talk about the latest Giannis news. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. John, actual games. The national nightmare is over. We made it. We get to cover them here. Preseason's been going on for a few days, but this is the first time we get to talk about actual basketball, and I'm excited.
Look, not just basketball, bonus basketball, preseason overtime, which nobody wants, but we got it. And hey, why not? Let's have some fun with it.
I put an exclamation point on it on the rundown on the right side here. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever, you can see the video part of things. Okay. Don't forget, subscribe to Locked On NBA Game Night wherever you get your podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and make us your first listen because we are going to cover every single game across the association this season: preseason, regular season, NBA Cup, postseason. It's all here. So make sure we are your first listen to catch up on everything. But we're actually not going to start with games, because we do need to talk about the latest Giannis news. And ESPN and Shams Charania is saying Giannis's future in Milwaukee is far from settled, going as far as saying they had some trade talks with the New York Knicks over the month of August. Didn't really go anywhere, but they answered the phone and engaged in talks. That's kind of significant, isn't it?
Well, the fact that Milwaukee actually did something other than hang up the phone that is important. And I think we have to face a reality of this is as much part of the second apron as it is Giannis kind of, looking around and saying, hey, what are we doing here? I don't think teams are going to be able to hang on to their superstars like Giannis as they get into their 30s. There's going to have to be decisions. And look, I cover the Celtics. I'm looking at Jaylen Brown at 29, his final year in his 20s, and Jason Tatum coming back from an Achilles injury in his late 20s. There's only like a few years left in that window. So once these guys get into their 30s, you have to start looking at trading them for maximum value so you can hit that reset button quickly and get back into that second apron popcorn popper so you can start getting yourself ready for when a Giannis becomes available, that you can now be part of that competition for him. The question, Jake, I have, Giannis basically, according to the story, said, only New York.
Only New York.
I don't think that's how it's going to be able to go. The system's not designed for Giannis to be like only New York, unless he stays. But then the Bucks are going to have to figure something out. This is much more complicated than just Giannis saying, yeah, I don't know what we got here anymore.
No, that kind of throws a wrench into it, I think, where if he's got a preferred destination and it's only going to be there. And, for certain players, there is that draw of the New York Knicks playing in Madison Square Garden and maybe leading them to a title and ending their title drought. That would be very meaningful, I would imagine, for a player in legacy and things like that. But that's not how this is going to work, right? Look, if they could figure out a trade that made sense, he would be there by now. The problem is they have one future first-round pick to trade. The salary is going to get a little bit interesting. They need to make a move to waive a guy or trade a guy to basically sign some of the players that they want because of the second apron and some of the concerns that they have there. So this is not something that's going to get resolved really quickly. But when I saw this, when I woke up to this news on Tuesday morning, like this felt like not the beginning of the end to me, but just the end of Giannis in Milwaukee, right? Like if he's at this point, say, like he's been pretty loyal, and on Locked On NBA Daily, they were talking about this on Tuesday of how like, a lot of these guys don't want to be considered the bad guy. And Giannis is a pretty likable person and probably doesn't want to be thought of as like the bad guy when it comes to all this. But if you want to get to your preferred destination, you're going to have to be the bad guy. Otherwise you'll just get traded where they find the best offer for you.
Sure. But again, it's your preferred destination is hard to get to.
Yes.
When like they're already good and they're going to have to make their moves. And it's certainly possible. You can work out a trade to get stuff from New York and you can do that.
You figure it out.
But is that what the Bucks are going to want in this thing? You can figure out like, and I didn't look at the pieces but the pieces that you're going to send back are sort of role player win now type of guys. If you're trading Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're bottoming out. This is a reset move. The system, if it works the way Adam Silver and the owners and everybody involved wants this to work, one of the bad teams is the team that gives the Bucks all of their young players, future draft picks, and trades for Giannis to build around and ascend, right? So it's not about, like, I get it. Giannis wants to go to New York. It's a premier franchise. And hey, a Greek in New York, you go to Astoria, you go to basically that's Greek town in New York. I used to live there. So I know, like, yeah, I get wanting to live there as a Greek, live there as a basketball player. It's a great place to go. I get it. But I'm telling you, the system, the second apron system, the way it's designed, it's not designed to get guys to their preferred destinations anymore. It's designed to have these teams that are ascending the bad to kind of your Detroits, your Orlandos,
what about the Thunder?
The Thunder are an aberration. The Thunder don't. Yes, the Thunder. Yes. The Thunder are not supposed to exist like this. Like in 10 years, there isn't an OKC Thunder set up this way under this system. I just don't think. But I'm just saying that preferred destinations are not how this is going to go anymore. And maybe Giannis is trying to sneak in and get there. But I just don't see a move like that works for Milwaukee. And Giannis already got Milwaukee their championship. Milwaukee has to do what's best for them. If he wants out, that's fine. I get it. But he's going to end up going to a team that's in the bottom third of the league because that's what this is supposed to be. That's how the system is designed now.
So two things I want to respond to your point there, and then we're going to play a quick real or fake here. I mean, if he goes to a bottom feeding team, let's say, and they trade all their good young players and future draft picks away, how do you build around Giannis at that point, right? Like that's where that kind of gets tricky.
Right. It's not supposed to be all you're supposed to be able to keep your main, like
I get what you're saying. Right. The interesting guys is who you trade away that are, like could be good kind of thing. Right. But let's quickly play real or fake.
Is this real or fake? Just ask John and Jake.
Real or fake, John? This will mess up the NBA's trade deadline.
Because teams are like...
I'll start. Yeah, no one's going to make moves because they're going to be waiting for Giannis to make their run at him, whether it's the trade deadline or the offseason. The Miami Heat have reportedly been like, we'll make an offer for him. The Lakers are going to because there's no reason for them not to. You would imagine a team like the Clippers might try and get into the mix too. But if they've got their eye on Giannis, other moves aren't going to get made. And does that mean it's like a muted, quiet trade deadline because everyone's waiting for the summer to see what happens with Giannis?
It's a good question. I'm going to say
I think it's real.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking for ways to say it's fake. It's going to be real. It's got to be real because he's still Giannis.
I don't care. 32. The dude's so good, or whatever his age is. Like, he's so good. You have to wait.
You have to see, and even the teams that might have made an ancillary move that you might want to see, like, okay, I'm looking at the Celtics with Anthony Simons. Do you work something out at the deadline, or do you sit there and be like, hey, this is a $25 million, there's a sign and trade that would have to be involved. But like, do you sit there and be like, hey, if Giannis is going to move, this might be a player that somebody might want, and we can get involved somehow as a third or fourth team, because there's no one-on-one trades anymore.
No, it's got to be more. But even the facilitating teams might be like, I got to wait to see if I can get in on. We just saw, a 6-7 team trade? Yeah. It's possible, I think this is going to lead to a quiet NBA trade deadline. But let's get to actual games. I want to talk about actual on-the-court basketball. Let's look at the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's coming up here next to today's edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what's in them. So whether it's your 401k, properties, investments, when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. So that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. You can do it on your laptop or your phone. And Monarch is built for people with busy lives. You put off organizing your finances, Monarch is there for you. It's going to do the heavy lifting. You link your account in minutes, see clear data visuals, you get smart categorization of your spending, and you're going to just finally feel in control over your money, and you never have to touch a spreadsheet. If you can identify you're not saving as much as you want, and Monarch might even find there's an inefficient investment allocation. It does all that stuff for you that you might not even think about. It also also helps you manage your money with a partner. Like if you're planning a wedding like me, my fiance and I are on the same page for vendors getting paid, all of that, making sure we're just not letting anything slip through the cracks. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. You can do that in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering every single game across the association, whether it's preseason, regular season, postseason. We have got it here for your second listen. It's draft season. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, John, let's go to actual games, and that is the Chicago Bulls beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-117. Let's go over to Locked On Bulls for their take.
What's going on? I'm Hayes, one of the hosts of Locked On Bulls, and the Chicago Bulls just got a win in their preseason opener against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game came down to the wire. Big performances down the stretch from the Bulls' new young rookie Noah Essengay, who was all over the court in his limited minutes in there, scored on multiple possessions, affected the ball at the rim a lot of times. Really promising young kid there, but the Bulls were led by the second-year player Matas Buzelis with 19 points in this game in only 18 minutes. He scored really well in this game for the Chicago Bulls and really looks like he's ready to make a jump, which a lot of Bulls fans are going to be excited about. Ayo Dosunmu as well, big contributions off the bench from him in his minutes. And overall, the Bulls' activity and their offseason talk about physicality and added defensive pressure and all those type of things, it worked in their favor. They out-rebounded the Cavs by almost 20 rebounds, over 50 rebounds they had in this game. This is a really good stepping stone from the Chicago Bulls. It is only preseason, but considering everything the Bulls went through last season and any glimmer of hope helps this franchise, it's a good first game.
Let's go over to the Cavaliers to see what Danny has to say.
Danny Cunningham here at Rocket Arena, and let's talk about preseason game #1 for 94 feet. The Cavs lose this one 118 to 117, and the result is insignificant. The fact that they lost doesn't matter at all. What happened during the game, I do think does matter, though. And DeAndre Hunter got the start at small forward, which is how I would expect the Cavs to begin this season and ultimately what their look should be for the complete season. I thought Hunter was terrific in this game, playing alongside Jared Allen, playing alongside Evan Mobley, something that we didn't see a ton of from him last year in his first year in Cleveland, but I thought he really looked apart playing small forward tonight. He had 17 points, with 7 of 9 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, and the Cavs were getting him the basketball in different spots than they did last year, which I think is a really important thing. We saw him get the ball in the mid-post, saw him get the ball at the elbow. We didn't see him as somebody that was maybe a little bit less involved offensively than what we could have expected last year. I think this year, Hunter's going to be a big part of the Cavs offense, especially early in the season, as they likely won't have Darius Garland for a little bit to start the year. They won't have Max Strus for a couple of months to start the year. DeAndre Hunter is going to need to be a big part of this team. And I do think on Tuesday night in preseason game number 1, he took a pretty big step forward and should give Cavs fans a lot of hope that Hunter, somebody who the team has basically said has been the MVP of the summer, is going to have a big year for the team.
So, I hit the wrong button there. We don't need you, John. I think he made Danny made a good point about the way they used DeAndre Hunter in this game. 17 points on 7 of 9 shooting. They were very intentional about getting him the ball and letting him just work. And given some of the injuries they're going to start the season with, seems like a very smart move.
Yeah, important because you get him midstream last year, and it's just always tough, no matter how eager a player might be and how welcomed he was and how any of that stuff. It's just being traded midstream is tough on a player. It's tough on a team. It's just tough for everybody. Now, starting out this season, getting him going right away, making that concerted effort to get him the ball in certain spots, you're going to need a big year from him. So you know what Donovan Mitchell is going to give you. He doesn't have to he doesn't need a preseason. Donovan Mitchell is going to be Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley, to some degree, who he also had, a pretty good first half. That is, you kind of know what you're getting with the guys who have been there. Getting DeAndre Hunter going early. It's just once the other guys come back, to have Hunter feeling comfortable and part of the team, that's going to be so important for the Cavs. And this is a make or break year for them. This is championship or bust for them. So this is exactly how they needed to start.
Yeah, look, they looked good, and if he takes a little bit of a leap for him, that's going to be, I think, really important. They're looking for like one more little thing to put him over the edge when they're fully healthy. And if that's DeAndre Hunter, you have to feel pretty good about what he's going to be able to do. You also got good performances from some of the other guys, I thought, on this team here a little bit. Tyrese Proctor looked really good shooting the ball, 3 of 4 from deep, 5 of 6 overall, 14 points. I think he's a guy that might be able to crack their rotation a little bit too, but yeah, Cavs continue just to look good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care that they lost this game.
I think wins and losses don't matter in preseason.
Mostly, my takeaway from the Cavs is they're going to be good. You got Lonzo Ball. You're working Lonzo Ball in, and you can see him kind of, the offense kind of moved pretty well when he was out there. You got some good defensive moments from Jalen Tyson. So there are players. Larry Nance made some nice plays. You got something out of a lot of different guys. I looked at, especially early on, that early part of a preseason game where that matters the most. I saw the Cavs looked very Cavs-like.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like, okay, this is exactly like, I felt like I was watching regular season basketball with them. They're very good. They're a very good basketball team.
Also, everyone needs to go look at the box score and look at the minutes distribution for the teams. Kenny Atkinson it's like a work of art. All of the starters played 17 minutes, 41 seconds. He was just doing hockey line changes with everything, right? The backups basically 18 minutes, 19 seconds. And a bunch of guys just got exactly 12 minutes. It's just kind of funny to look at. You don't really see that. Quickly on the Bulls.
Yeah.
I like their young guys, I think. Buzelis looked really good in this game. I thought Asenge looked pretty good too. He's a rookie. He looks lanky, spry, like he's going to be something. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Kobe White guy. Josh Giddey's Josh Giddey, but someone who can be good. Like, you look at them and you're like, oh, there's some like intriguing young players that they have here that I kind of like.
Buzelis is going to, he could be a revelation. Sometimes you just need to be lucky and you stumble into like, this is the guy, right? He could be, I don't know about the guy, but one of the guys. It's you've already given Giddey the contract. Kobe White didn't play, but he's a pretty good piece moving forward. Buzelis, I just like watching him play, and I think the Bulls still have a ways to go. Obviously, yes. But there are, as Hayes said, there are places you look and you go, okay, I see it, I like it. It's something to hang your hat on moving forward. The Bulls might be the type of team that you say, hey, Milwaukee, hey, you know what I mean? Or just to fold it back in. The Bulls are the type of team where you go, okay, maybe you give up one of these two young guys to entice the Bucks like that. This is the type of team that might make that kind of move.
I don't know, they kind of did that a couple of years ago with like Vucevic and didn't quite work. Like they are a team to be a different level of player. Don't get me wrong. They're a team to me that should just tank, right? Like stop trying to go for the play-in and just tank and build around some of these guys and find the main guy, which I don't think they have.
Thing we've been saying for like 3 years now.
Well, yeah, this is what the Chicago Bulls do. All right, one more game on the docket, an OT thriller. Can we say that about preseason? The Pacers, the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's coming up here next to today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you're going to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because there's so many different ways to play. You can build parlays for a bigger payout. The player props are just fun, especially when you know someone's going to have a big game. And if you missed kickoff, tip-off, you can get in live on the action with updated lines during the game. So it just makes watching sports a little bit more exciting. Look, I loved seeing the Saints -1.5 getting their first win over the season here in New Orleans. Throw 1.5 on that, you would have made some money there. So don't wait any longer. Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. They've been a longtime partner of Locked On. I don't think I've seen an offer as good as $300 in bonus bets. If your first $5 bet wins, you can get the app over at FanDuel.com. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering every single game across the NBA. We got real games now, so we're back to doing what we should be doing here. I'm making Locked On Bulls my second listen. I'm kind of very intrigued about that team and what direction they should go. They're going to be covering it over there at the Locked On Bulls podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, final game of the night, Indiana Pacers beating the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bonus preseason basketball, John, 135-134. Let's go over to Tony East for his take.
Hope you like preseason ball because the Pacers and Wolves got more of it. Pacers win by 1 in overtime. I hate overtime in the preseason. We all do, but the Pacers get it done. Final score kind of irrelevant. No one cares about the score in the preseason. What matters for the Pacers, a couple things. One, their actual real lineups in the first half. Their starters played. They were good. They played well. They were up on the Wolves at the half. I thought their starters were particularly solid. Aaron Nesmith was drilling shots. Pascal Siakam looked very comfortable. And you could see the Pacers' style really settle in. They said it at Media Day that even without Tyrese Halliburton, they wanted the standard to be the standard. Whether they were full court pressing in the preseason, they were getting to their shots quickly. Their second unit looked very solid. So in that way, they'll be happy with this game. They will not be happy that they blew a 20-point lead and barely held on. They will really not be happy that TJ McConnell and DeLon Wright both suffer injuries in this game. That's their second and third string point guards with Halliburton out. Yikes! So much more coming on Locked On Pacers.
The injuries are never going to be fun in preseason here, but I was kind of shocked, truthfully, by the Indiana Pacers in this and how good they looked.
Are we shocked? First of all, let me just say the DeLon Wright one, especially that he got like speared, like in the if that was an NFL play, it would have been like an unsportsmanlike. It was unintentional, but it was like head to head. That was. Yeah. I hope he's okay. That has like concussion type of thing written all over it. But as far as the game goes, just watching that, I'm just like, of course.
Yeah, like this is what they do, right?
Of course, right? Like, and it's funny because I hear some people talk about, people just keep thinking about they just give Pacers this additional shine. You're like, yeah, of course we give them additional shine because they're
good.
It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. With the Pacers, you could, I don't know why you could put the two of us out there in Pacers uniforms, and somehow there would be a magical thing that takes over our bodies, and like we'd shoot 3 of 5 from 3. And
we get the paycheck per game too.
I would take like a standard 10-day contract.
Yeah, of course.
Just whatever,
it's
like
easy $64,000 or whatever it ends up being.
Easy, just whatever. But they have some talent, and the whole Pacers ethos, as he said, was it's that high energy, that full court defense. You just from the beginning, no one's resting because it's the preseason. No one's going out there and being like, we'll ramp ourselves up. No, right away, boom, Pacers basketball, high speed, high energy. Let's go. And yeah, it's a typical preseason box score with like 20 guys getting minutes.
Yeah.
But also that's just kind of how the Pacers are going to play this year. I don't know if they'll win 45 games, but they are going to be in like this style is going to give them a chance no matter what.
They're still going to be exhausting to play. And they also have some like next man up guys, right? Johnny Furphy looked great in this and looks like he's poised for a bit of a breakout year. He had 12 points coming off the bench, including a monster dunk and a bunch of other like athletic. It's just what he does apparently.
Always when you talk about him, including a monster dunk.
Yeah, it's just what he does. Like they're still fun. You're missing Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner, 2 starters off of a finals team that went to game 7. And they're like, yeah, we're fine. Like, we might not be as good, but we're going to be in pretty good shape here. There's just something about that team is just fun to me. And I enjoy watching them very much. What do you think about the Timberwolves in this one?
It just looks like a team that is, going to slowly ramp up. Like they're the team that's going to, they're working on things. And, Anthony Edwards was his typical self and, whatever. You didn't see much from Rudy Gobert. I don't think the Timberwolves are showing, their A game in, at this point. This is not like the Pacers. They're slowly ramping up.
Yeah, I mean, look, they ran out with what's kind of just their normal group here. It seemed a little bit like, and was, it's interesting to see Naz Reid there in the small forward spot in the starting lineup. But Anthony Edwards, 17 points, looks good, scoring at all 3 levels, even though he only made 1 3. I like that he played a little bit more downhill and not just launching as many threes as he was doing at times last season. It got back to being himself a little bit more, but they're still gonna be good, I think.
Sure. Like this game was not informative to me in any way about the Timberwolves. Like it didn't seem to me that I was like, okay, yeah, the Naz Reid thing playing at small forward.
That's a little intriguing.
It's okay. That's an interesting little lineup thing. But I don't look at this game and go, okay, this is informing me of anything. In fact, I saw 2 teams that were just their normal selves. That it's just that the Pacers are just so mind blowing, and the Timberwolves are just going to be like, this is
this is what we do. We're solid. We'll be fine.
We're going to be fine. Right. So I don't see anything. I don't see anything that blew me.
Like they just look like, so that's what it is, right? Like they just looked like the Timberwolves, and that's a good team. And that is actually a compliment, even if we're just like, yeah, whatever, but that's actually a good thing. If you're a good team, we want to say you looked like a good team. And that's basically what they did.
That's
okay,
it.
Cool.
There
we go.
That's it. My one takeaway from this game. I'm angry at them for going into overtime. So that's it. I'm not talking about them anymore.
No one wants overtime in preseason. No one does. We're sorry. So you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to go into overtime here on Locked On NBA Game Night. So that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at Nola Jake on Twitter, and the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
We appreciate y'all listening. We'll be back with y'all next week for a bunch more games. See y'all next time.